I've been watching The Walking Dead since the very beginning, and at this point it feels like just a labour to have to watch this series, and yet I've committed to it, and so I'm continuing to do it. And the first episode of the new season just pissed me off. It was just dumb as fuck. It's just pissed me off enough that I want to just sit here and pick it apart and be an absolute prick about it. And since I haven't had a copyright strike on my channel for quite some time, I figure now is as good a time as any to get one. I can't really remember what happened last season. They defeated Negan. I remember Negan didn't die. Probably a mistake. But anyway, you know, they've conquered the saviors. That's as far as I really remember. And good for them. Alright, let's watch The Walking Dead. Or at least parts of it. Until they take down my channel. So near the beginning we're at the sanctuary, and the crows are eating the crops, and so they're having trouble feeding themselves. And so they decide, we're going to stick a walker up and use it as a scarecrow, which is a pretty damn good idea, until King Daryl comes along, says fuck you, and then shoots it through the head. He then walks off to prove he's a tough guy, leaving me to think, well, don't you need that fucking arrow? All through the other series we're shown Daryl collecting his arrows, and then in this fucking episode, he leaves 3 behind.
Onward.
They were all within easy reach apart from the last one, and he didn't bother to get the other 2, but okay, it's just a petty thing that bothered me. I'm sure he finds more arrows in his journeys. Daryl's been left in charge of Sanctuary, and for some reason he's being a total arsehole, which is something we'll talk about in a minute. But anyway, in the meantime, the team have gone to a museum in order to get an antiquated wagon and an antiquated plough. And for some reason, this is going to damage the, foot-thick glass that's covering the surface of the floor of the museum, under which there are, of course, dozens and dozens of zombies. Sorry, walkers. As you can see by this freeze frame, there's actually enough space behind each pillar, away from the glass floor, to transport the wagon. Which I don't really believe is as heavy as they're making out, because it looks like it's made of rickety wood. But either way, I severely doubt that the weight of this wagon alone is sufficient to crack the glass. But let's assume that all this was true. Why the fuck do you need an antique wagon? I mean, can you not make something that approximates to a wagon without having an antiquated blueprint from which to work? You know how wheels and axles work, and if you don't, there are public libraries you can loot, I'm sure. Go and get the autistically smart guy who is left with Negan. He will undoubtedly be able to instruct the others on how to make the necessary components, and you can just produce them. I mean, they already have homemade wagons, but okay, no one can figure out how to make spoked wheels on their own. Fine, I'm down with that. They can't do it. Okay, fine. Let's just take the antique wagon home. But oops, they got stuck in the mud on the way home. How thoughtless of them. Well, if 2 big horses can't pull this out of the mud, the only thing is to get the people to try and pull this out of the mud. Not attach the other horses to the cart and use them to pull it out of the mud. No, detach all of the horses from the cart and get half a dozen people to try instead. You fucking idiots. And then, of course, about a dozen walkers start coming. Okay, Michonne alone could destroy this entire group. They're well spaced out, so you can just move between them, slice, 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 the whole thing's done. There is literally nothing to worry about here. These characters are fucking invincible compared to the enemies that they have to face. But no, even though there are like more than half a dozen of them, and most of those are experienced fighters, everyone now has to run. Oh, except save the horse. And of course, the young guy goes back, gets caught, and instead of trying to pull his arm away from the zombie that's trying to bite it, he just stands there and lets it fucking bite him. Of course. Why not? I had no idea who this kid was, so I didn't give a damn, but I'm sure someone else in the episode is going to be unreasonably pissed off about it. And the thing is, while this drama's playing out with a third-rate, nameless character, they kill all of the zombies anyway. So after all of this, we're back at Sanctuary, and Daryl is saying how he doesn't want to be the leader of Sanctuary anymore because, frankly, he runs it worse than Negan. He is an amazing prick to the people that he is ruling over, and as far as I was aware, these were the workers that they had set free from Negan's regime. And because Daryl's regime is worse than Negan's regime, the writing is on the wall. People are asking for Negan back, and they can only do that because Negan is still, for some reason, alive.
Did we do the right thing? Sometimes I think maybe we just should have killed him.
I think about it a lot. Killing him wouldn't have changed anything we saw today. They don't want Negan, they want food.
We don't know that, Rick. Not for sure.
Should we have left a man as charismatic and dangerous as Negan alive? Really, is that a question that we need to answer, is it? Is that not self-evident, given what he has done to you and your people? Negan would have to die the second you got your hands on him. However, of course, the show writers can't have that happen because Negan is a popular and cool character. So I guess he gets some plot armor for a little bit longer. The fact that he's still alive is why people are pining for his rule and think that one day he may return. But why does Sanctuary even still exist? What do they do there? What do they produce? They can't feed themselves. They're dependent on Rick getting food from other places and just giving it to them as if they were still in charge. They aren't doing anything for the people who conquered them, even though you would be the ones who impose terms at this point. Rick is treating them like a bunch of victims. Now, if this is some sort of oppressed class of workers who weren't allowed to leave, take them to the other locations. Take them and distribute them in equal number around all of the other locations, all of the other towns and settlements. Have them become farmers. Why are you leaving Sanctuary to brew resistance against you by allowing Daryl to run the place like Discount Negan and keeping them reliant on you to even get by? This is so dumb, but Rick is treating this place as if it's sacred, as if they can't possibly leave. It's like, dude, I can't believe they want to stay. Rick goes to Maggie and says that he needs to rebuild the bridge, and we don't have enough labour to do it, and so he's going to ask her for people to come and help rebuild the bridge. He then also says, I would also like you to just give food to the saviours in Sanctuary, just for the sake of it, so they can just exist there and apparently do nothing.
Sanctuary's barely holding on right now. We're obliged to help.
Why?
Yeah, why? Maggie then has to explain what happens when you actually beat someone to Rick, because apparently all Rick can do is go around burning things down. He doesn't seem to be used to actually having something to have to work with after he has defeated his opponent.
They provide most of the labor on the bridge for us. And they send over all the fuel they've been making from their dead corn.
There is literally nothing wrong with that arrangement. A, you're not in some sort of modern democracy where human rights are being protected at every turn. B, they are a defeated enemy. And C, that's actually a fair trade. That could actually become the basis of a trade policy between the two settlements. What Maggie is suggesting is lasting peace.
They surrendered. We didn't kill him.
But Rick acts like, for some reason, he has a duty to provide food to these people, and because he can't do it, he's going to have to ask other people to just keep these people on what is effectively welfare, while Negan languishes in a cell and his men sit there idle. This is dumb as fuck. Maggie was doing so well, and then she was attacked by, I can't remember this guy's name, just the usurper guy from the hilltop, the previous mayor or whoever it is. And to show that she's all in favour of democracy and the rule of law, after she's attacked by this guy, afterwards, instead of setting him a trial, she just summarily hangs him, which I suppose cements Maggie's position as the prince of the hilltop. But in her defense, it is better to be feared than loved, apparently, and Rick is basically brewing an insurrection in the Sanctuary for when Negan inevitably escapes.